my friends, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome to another RPG a Day session. Today is the 12th, which is the 12th topic. And that is, what is the oldest game you still play? Well, that's a complicated question, actually, in some ways. Technically, the oldest game I play is the oldest game for role-playing games that really exists, at least the one most people would say is the first. And that's Dungeons & Dragons, isn't it? I mean, we still play it. It's the first game I played, and it's still the game that I'm playing now. But editions, right? I'm no longer playing Back Me Dungeons & Dragons, I'm playing 5th edition. And before that, I played a little bit of 4th edition, and I played 3rd edition and 3.5. When I spent through college, I spent a lot of times playing 2nd edition. And before that, I played Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and Back Me. So I've done every version of Dungeons & Dragons except for the original. And one of these days, I will rectify that and play that one too. But I don't consider the Moldvay Holmes versions to be that much different from a bridge between Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and Back Me, so I don't feel compelled to play a Holmes BX game or a Moldvay BX game. I'm fine with those subsystems being incorporated into Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm fine with that. Which I separate between Dungeons & Dragons and OD&D, original D&D, 0 edition D&D, whatever you want to call it. And even though I've got two groups, what am I playing? Dungeons & Dragons and Dungeons & Dragons. Still playing this old game. But we're playing in 5th edition now. So is that a different game? And I would actually posit, no, it really isn't. The core, the heart of what makes Dungeons & Dragons work has not been absent in any edition, except for possibly 4th, that I have played. It's the same storytelling potential. It's the similar foes. It's the similar idea of advancing your character along and watching them grow more and more and more powerful. And as they do, they face more and more difficult enemies. They challenge more. They dare more because they're stronger and you've had all these experiences with them. Dungeons & Dragons can be played narratively as well as a simulation-style game. So both of them work in a certain abstract way, and I've played both styles using the same systems. And if you get down to the core of it, the D20 system is quite similar to the old tables on a grid that 1st edition, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, 2nd edition, all used the grid, or THACO, which really is just an inversion of the Dungeons & Dragons D20 system we know from 3rd, 4th, 5th. The game heart is still intact, even if the game has evolved. I really can't say too much more about that. There are enough similarities that you can play AD&D and D&D modules with 5th. To me, the conversion is really simple. I have no problems in playing some of these old adventures using 5th edition D&D. The one deviant from that is 4th edition, which I don't believe has the heart of Dungeons & Dragons, which is what turned off people so much from 4th edition D&D. And it made sense. It wasn't Dungeons & Dragons anymore. It was Dungeons & Dragons Tactics, which was in itself a fine game, but it wasn't a replacement for Dungeons & Dragons. So it is the oldest game because the game is still there. It is still Dungeons & Dragons. It still has a mystique. It still has a feel to it. But it is a little bit of a cop-out because I am playing the 5th edition, which came out 2012, or 2014, which means it's not the oldest. So you can argue it either way. I choose not to, and the answer could definitively, to me, be Dungeons & Dragons, and I would be fine with that. But if you want to be very, very narrow in your scope, this the earliest edition, the earliest game that I still play, would have to go to Ghostbusters 1986. I just ran a game earlier this year for my friends playing Ghostbusters, so I guess that qualifies. Did I start playing it early? No, the first time, or much earlier. No, I started in 2021. I ran Ghostbusters to kick off a group that I started in January of 2021. We have now been playing together for 2.5 years. It's been glorious. But we started off with a very, very old game, a great comedy that broke the ice and introduced them to the first elements of role-playing, which was great. It was a great game. It's still a great game. Does it have warts? Yes. Would I redesign it? Yes. There's things that could be changed, but at its heart, it's still a great game. And essentially, it's kind of, in some way, similar to the D6 system. Not surprising, because it's also made by West End Games. So, yeah. That would be the oldest game that I still get around to play. Yeah, there's really no comparison, honestly. The next oldest game I'm thinking about running even might be Rifts, but honestly, I think I'd rather do the Savage Worlds version of Rifts rather than go to the old school version that Palladium made. But I think that came out well after Ghostbusters, so that's what I'll close with. I guess if you wanted to pair it, it's either Dungeons and Dragons or it's Ghostbusters. Those are the oldest I've got. And those are the oldest that I have that I still play. So, there you are. I know there are plenty of people who would be right there with me going, Dungeons and Dragons, the oldest game I play, because played with 5th edition or maybe even 4th edition? No. Going all the way back to AD&D and the Red Box D&D in my days, that's the oldest. Especially when it comes to my personal experiences and recollections. Now, I've collected older games. I have Star Frontiers, and I have the original Dungeons & Dragons and Chainmail. But, yeah, as far as playing them, that's my answer. So, I hope you liked it. And if you yourself are looking for old games and have not had a chance to play either of those, going back in time to play earlier versions of D&D, it's relatively easy. PDFs are available very, very reasonably. Ghostbusters, PDF is still out there, I think. You should probably be able to find just about everything on PDF, I would expect. And it's a fun game. It's fast-paced, simple, easy, enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, I hope you consider liking and subscribing my video. I appreciate it, I really do. And if you get notified with the little bell icon, you'll know when I make more videos so that you can come and visit with me. I'd like that. What I'd really like, though, is for you to possibly think about leaving a comment below. And if you leave a comment and talk about old games that you like or you're interested in, we can start a dialogue about that. That would be great. And, if somebody else is looking for old games or interested in some hoary old fossil talking about those old games that used to occupy our time, well, steer them towards this video. I'd like to talk to them too. But I do hope that you continue watching these videos. I think there's some really good topics coming up, and I'm really looking forward to talking about those. So, my hope is that I will see you again very soon. And in the time between then and now, I hope that you, yes, you, get a chance yourself to roll some dice, to play some games, to have some fun, and to stay safe out there, my friends. Until that next time, farewell.